So in the last class, we were talking about the different types of welded connections. And in specifically, we have talked about the type of fillet weld, which is also called as a lap weld. Okay, we have talked about the specifications which are required for the provision of the fillet weld. That is, what should be the maximum size, what should be the minimum size, what should be the throat thickness, what should be the length value, and how will you calculate the design strength of a fillet weld or lap weld. Okay. Now, in today's class, in continuation with that, we are going to talk about the second type of weld, which is called as a butt weld, which is also known as groove weld. So the butt weld and groove weld, they both are same. They both refer to the same process. What exactly this groove or butt weld is? We know in bolted connections, we talked about the butt joint. Okay, so a butt joint is a joint, whereas in terms of bolted connections, a butt joint is a joint where you have a main plate 1 and main plate 2. Okay, this is the second main plate, and these two main plates are connected by using the cover plates provided on the top or on the bottom or on both sides as well. And hence we are going to call such kind of connection as a single cover butt joint or double cover butt joint, depending on the provision of the cover plates. Now here we are not going to provide any kind of cover plates in the welded connection, but instead what we are going to do is we are going to bring the two main plates very close to each other. Okay, you will provide a little gap between the two main plates, so they are not completely attached with each other like this, as shown in the second diagram. So this is not done in the welded connection. Instead, what we are going to do in the welded connection is we are going to bring the two main plates close to each other, and then in this gap, whatever the gap you are seeing, in this gap we are going to fill the welded material. Okay, this is all the weld material which you are going to provide. So such kind of connection is called as a butt weld or groove weld. So in butt weld or groove weld, two plates are brought close together without touching. Okay, without touching the faces of the each plates or the edges of the each plates. So two main plates are brought close to each other, and in between the gap of the two main plates, we are going to provide the weld material, and hence such kind of connection is called as a groove weld or a butt weld. Okay, here again we have different types of butt welds are available for us. As we seen in the bolted connections, we have single cover butt joint and double cover butt joint. Okay, in welded connections also, we have approximately 7 to 8 different types of butt welds are available. So before knowing what are those types and all, I'll show you image. I'll show you a video which talks about the butt weld. So here in the video, you can see the two cover plates are the two pipes. You can say here there are two pipes. This is the pipe 1 and this is the pipe 2. Okay, these two pipes are brought close together. Okay, in such a way that there is a small gap between them. So you can see the line which
sir, your voice is not.
As I was telling earlier, you have two plates or two pipes in this image or in this video, and these two pipes, that is the pipe 1 and pipe 2, this you can consider as pipe 1 and this you can consider as pipe 2, and in these two pipes are brought very close to each other, and in between that there will be a very finite amount of gap. Okay, very small amount of gap, and in between that gap, okay, you can see in the video, in between the gap which you are observing, the welding is being done. All the sparks you are observing, right? So that's how the butt weld or groove weld is made. So two plates are brought close to each other, and in between the gaps of these two plates, you are going to provide the welded connection, and hence it is called as a butt weld or groove weld. So that's about the butt weld definition. Okay, let's talk about the specific requirements of butt weld. So here, this butt weld or a groove weld is used when the members are in the same plane. What does this say? Same plane in the sense, say you have one plate here and you are going to keep the same plates in the same plane. Whereas in the lap joint, you can provide one plate in this way and the other plate can be provided in the perpendicular direction. So this is applicable for lap joint and this is applicable for the butt joint or butt weld or lap weld. So anything is same. So that's what the term which says about the groove weld is specifically used when the two plates are, when the two members are in the same plane. And this butt weld doesn't require, okay, this butt weld is not uh, a thing which gives more efficiency. What happens here is, suppose in butt weld, okay, suppose say for example you have a butt weld, and as I said earlier, in the butt weld, the in between the gaps of the two plates, you are going to fill the weld material. But before filling the weld material, the one thing which you have to take care is, you have to make sure whether the surface or the edge surface of both the plates are properly cleaned or not. Okay, so you have to ensure whether the edge surfaces are properly cleaned or not. So that's how the edge preparation is required in the butt welds. Whereas in the lap welds, you don't need any edge preparation, because as I said earlier, in the lap joint connections, here you are going to provide the lap connections. See, what exactly edge preparation is: if there is any amount of dust or if there is any amount of raw materials that are present, you just have to remove that. So that will be done both in the lap weld as well as in the butt weld. But in the butt weld, it has to be more concentratingly to be done. Okay, so the amount of effect of edge preparation to be concentrated is more in terms of butt weld, and hence it adds some additional cost to the making of butt weld joints. So since the edge preparation is required in the butt welds, it requires some extra amount of cost where it gives the economical aspect consideration. Okay, so in order to provide the butt welds or groove welds, you also have to take care of the edge preparation, which directly increases you the cost of construction. And this butt weld is highly used in the stress structures where you find heavy amount of stresses. Okay, so this is very suitable for the structures where you find huge amount of stresses, whereas a lap weld cannot be used in structures where you find huge amount of loads or huge amount of structures. And the butt weld is used to join the structural members which are carrying the compression load or also the tension. Okay, so the butt welds can be used for the members which can carry both the compression loads as well as the tensile loads. Okay, and here we have different types of butt welds. As I said earlier, we have single V butt weld, single U, single J, and double V, double U, double J. These are different types of butt welds. I'll talk about those types in the later slides. But here, what you have to remember is the single V butt welds or single U or single J butt welds are very cheaper when you compare from the double V, double U, and double J. So I'll talk about the single V, UJ and double V, UJ now. And square butt welds are used for plates up to 8 mm thickness only. So I'll talk about the square butt welds also a little later. But remember, the square butt welds are used for plates up to 8 mm thickness. So if you want to prefer the square butt welds, the maximum thickness has to be is limited to 8 mm. So you can make the square butt welds only when the thickness of the plates is less than or equals to 8 mm. Now let's talk about the different types of butt welds. Okay, so the first type of butt weld is a square butt weld. What is this? So in square butt weld, actually you have two main plates. This is main plate 1 and this is main plate 2. You have two main plates, and in between these two main plates, you are going to provide the weld. Okay, so in between these two main plates, you are going to provide the weld, all the hatched portion which you are seeing, this thing. Okay, so you are going to provide the weld. Now, how will you identify whether this type of weld is a square butt weld or not a square butt weld? So the simple identification factor is, you have two plates, okay, the main plate 1 and main plate 2. If the edges of the plates are perfectly straight, if both edges of the plates are perfectly straight, then such kind of butt weld is called as square butt weld. See here, we are not going to talk about the shape of the weld. Okay, we are not going to talk about the shape of the weld. So you might have a doubt that since the shape of the weld is not square, it is not a square butt weld. No, it is not that way. The square butt weld or square groove weld is a type of weld when the edges of both the plates are perfectly straight. Okay, then you're going to call such kind of weld as a square butt weld. That's how you can define the square butt weld condition. Now, as I said earlier, here two pieces of a square but which are flat and parallel to each other are welded. Okay, here two pieces of square. They are not exactly square, but this can be a rectangle also. But what it has to form is it has to form a perfect straight lines at the edges of the plates, and hence we are going to call it as the square butt welds. Now we have two different types of square butt welds. One is single square butt weld. Okay, the other one is double side square butt weld. What is this single square and double square butt? So as you see in the in the second figure, so here the single square butt weld is a weld where you are going to do the welding process from top to bottom. Okay, so you're going to do the welding process from top to bottom. What does this it actually indicates? That means initially you're going to fill the weld material here, and then you're going to fill the weld material from here on. Okay, so this process is initiated from the top to bottom. So the initial portion where you're going to weld is here, and from here you are going to increase the diameter of the weld, and then you're going to make the square butt weld. This is one side or single side square butt weld. But whereas in double square butt weld, what happens is you're going to weld from the top and you are also going to weld from the bottom. Okay, so you can see the weld portion which is there at the top, and you can also see the weld portion which is there from the bottom as well. So here the double side square butt weld is more efficient when you compare to the single square butt weld. Why or how? It is because in single side square butt weld, what happens is if you observe the perimeter of the weld material, it is very less. In the first portion, it is very less. But whereas in the second portion, it is relatively high when you compare with the first one. And hence, this is the better efficient performer in the two types of square butt welds. Okay, so this is all about the square type of butt weld. So here what happens is you have two main plates, and these two main plates are perfectly straight orientation as at the edges. So you have two different types of square butt welds. One is single side square butt weld, and the second one is double side square butt weld. So the double side square butt weld is more efficient than single square butt weld. It is because of the perimeter or the influence of the weld material is there throughout the plates. So that's how you can say it has more efficiency. The double side square butt welds has more efficiency. And also you can also say in this way, the double side square butt weld has more resistance power, because here you can see at the bottom you can find too much amount of weld. See, here you can see the weld is covering a too much amount of width portion of the plates, but whereas in the square butt weld it is covering only this portion, only this portion. That means if you try to apply a load from the bottom or from the top, anything it is, so the first failure part will get initiated at this portion, at the bottom portion. But whereas in the double side square butt weld, there is no chance of getting failed. They will get failed, but the probability of getting failed will be very less in the double side square butt weld. That's about the square butt weld type. And as I said earlier, this type of joint is inexpensive and gives sufficient amount of strength. Okay, so the next type of butt weld is V butt weld or V groove weld. So I can use groove or butt, they both represent the same thing. So here the V groove weld or V butt weld, what happens here is you have two main plates as I'm showing in the figure. Okay, you have two main plates. When the edges of the main plates are perfectly straight, you are going to call them as square butt welds. But here what is going to happen is the edges of both the plates are in the shape of V. So you can see the shape V here. Okay, so when you are finding the V shape at the center of the connection, then you're going to call such kind of weld as V groove weld. Now you might have a question that what should be this angle? As I'm showing here, the angle has to be 60 degrees. Okay. Now where you are going to fill the weld is in square butt weld, you are going to fill the weld in this portion. But whereas in the V groove weld, what you are going to fill is you are going to fill the weld material in the V shape. Okay, you can say this way, in the V shape. Okay, so that's about the V groove butt weld. So V groove weld, it can be defined as when the edges of the plates, okay, when the edges of the plates are forming a shape V at an angle of 60 degrees, then you can say it as V groove weld. So you can say based on the shape, we are going to call the weld type as V groove weld. Now here also we have two types of V groove welds. One is single V groove weld and the second one is double V groove weld. Okay, so we'll talk about these points later, but let's understand the single V and double V groove welds. Now here in the single V groove weld, what you're going to do is you're going to make the two plates in the shape of V. It is not like whether we have to make the complete plates, that is in this way. I'll show you here. See, you are not going to make the V shape throughout the depth of the plate. See here, you can see throughout the depth of the shape, you can find the shape V. But why we are doing in this way, as I'm showing in the top figure, just give me a second. Why I have done in this way, as I'm showing in this figure, it is because if I'm trying to fill the weld throughout this portion, what happens is it gives a better efficiency. It gives a better efficiency. But if you make the weld or if you make the shape in this way, okay, as I'm showing in this figure, if you make the groove completely throughout the depth of web or depth of the plates, what happens is you can provide the weld. There is no issue in the provision of weld. But what happens is as soon as you try to apply load from the top or from the bottom, what happens is this is the first portion which gets failed. That means if you compare the first one and the second one will give a better efficiency when you compare with the first one. Okay, but your understanding purpose, I have shown the figure here in this way, that is in the shape of V. But this V shape cannot be done throughout the depth of the plates. Okay, this has to be only up to certain depth. Okay, so for this depth, what should be this depth? This we'll discuss when we are talking about the IS code provisions. So they are not there in IS 800/2007. We have to use another code book for that, but it is just for remembrance purpose. It is not useful for your grade of study. Okay, so however, so this is what the single groove butt weld is, or single V groove butt weld is. Now the double V groove butt weld is, here you're going to make the V shape for both the sides of both the plates. Okay, as I am showing in the figure, for both the sides of both the plates, you are going to make the V groove. So on the top, you are going to have V groove, and on the bottom also, you are going to have inverted V groove. Okay, so you have V shape at the top and you also have V shape at the bottom. Okay, or inverted V shape. And in this entire portion, you are going to fill the weld materials. As we see in the double square and single square butt weld, here also the double V butt joint is more efficient when you compare to the single V butt joint or butt weld. Okay, so this cutting portion, you are cutting the shape in the form of V, right? So this cutting portion is particularly called as beveling. B-E-V-E-L-L-I-N-G, beveling. So here, both the sides of the main plates are beveled in the shape of V. So that particular terminology is called as beveled or beveling. Okay. Now the third type of butt weld is U groove weld. So as the name itself says, this type of weld will be available in the shape of U. How? See, you can see. So you can find in more or less an U shape. It is not it won't be exactly like this, but more or less U shape. Okay, and hence you are going to call this kind of weld as a U-groove weld. And here also we have two types of U-grooves. One is a single U butt weld and the second one is a double U butt weld. The same philosophy applies here as well. In single U butt weld, you have the U shape. Okay, you have the U shape of the plates only on one side, whereas in the double U butt welds, you have U shape both on the top as well as on the bottom. That's what the U-groove butt welds are. Okay, these kind of butt welds are very uneconomical, so they give high cost to the construction. Why? Because you have to be specially care has to be taken in forming this radius, okay, or this curve. So making this curve is technically a little difficult, okay, for laymen. So that's the reason why it has got special workers to make this kind of grooves in the shape of V, and that's the reason why they are called as uneconomical. Okay, since the shape is little difficult to make for the general workers or for the general laborers or general welders, so it becomes little uneconomical in terms of cost. And the next type of butt weld is J-groove butt weld. So here the J-groove butt weld will be there in the shape of J. Okay, so in single J butt welds, one piece is in the shape of J. Okay, one piece is in the shape of J, and the other piece is square. Remember, one piece is there in the shape of J, and the other piece is in the shape of square. Whereas in double J butt welds, both the edges of one piece, okay, are in the shape of J. I'll show you the figures, so you can see. So this is single J butt weld. See here, you can find the shape J. It won't be like exactly this, but a more or less shape of J. Okay, so you can find one plate is forming the shape J and the other plate is perfectly straight or square. That's what I have talked here. In single J butt welds, one piece is in the shape of J and the other piece is in the shape of square, that is perfectly straight. So that's what the single J butt weld is. Whereas in the double J butt weld, what happens is one piece, okay, if you consider this as first piece and the second piece, or main plate 1 and main plate 2, for main plate 1, on the both sides, you are going to find the shape J. That's what I said. So whereas in the double J butt welds, both edges of one piece, okay, that means this edge and this edge. So both edges of one piece are in the shape of J and the other piece is in square. So what you have to remember here is whether in single J butt weld or in double J butt weld, it is provided only for one plate, not for both the plates. Okay, so one plate will be perfectly square both in single J and double J. Other plate is having in the shape of J. Okay, if you find only one shape at the top, then you can call it as single J, and if you find the shape of J at the top as well as at the bottom, then you are going to call it as double J butt weld. That's the simple difference between the single J and double J butt welds. And this type is also expensive and can be produced with a special cutting machinery. Okay, as I said earlier, why we are not going to use a U shape, I mean, why it got economical is it is because of the radius or the radial angle, this angle. Okay, so here also you're going to find an arc shape. Okay, so that's the reason why it has also got little expensive, and also it requires a special machinery for cutting of this kind of welds. Well, this is one type of weld. And the other type of weld is a bevel groove weld. What is this bevel groove weld is, here I'll show you the figure. So what happens in bevel groove weld is you have main plates, two main plates, and for one of the main plates, what you're going to do is you're going to cut the member in this way. Okay, this cutting is called as beveling, B-E-V-E-L-L-I-N-G, beveling. Okay, so if you are making the cut only for one side of the one plate, remember, one side of the one plate, then it is called as single bevel butt joint or single bevel groove weld. And if you are making the beveling portion on both sides of the same plate, remember, here also you have to remember, it is being done, or the beveling is done only for one side of one plate. It is called as single bevel. If you are doing the beveling on both the sides of the same plate, then it is called as a double bevel. Okay, so here the another plate will remain perfectly square. So same as in the J groove butt weld. In J groove also you found the same thing, right? So as you see here, you can find the same thing as well. Okay, so here also one of the plate is perfectly squared, whether is in single J or double J. The same pattern is applicable here also, where in single bevel and double bevel, one of the plates will remain perfectly straight or square, whereas beveling is done on one side and beveling can be done on both sides of the same plate. So depends on the beveling process, you are going to call this kind of weld as single bevel butt weld or double bevel butt weld. Okay, so here you can see the beveling process. The same figure. This is just a replica of these two figures. Okay, fine. So let's look at the summary of what we have discussed so far, all the different types of groove welds or all the different types of butt welds. So this is all we have discussed. So initially we have talked about the square butt weld, where both the sides are perfectly square or perfectly straight. Closed square is nothing but if you're avoiding this gap between the two plates, then you are going to use closed square butt weld. But this is, however, is very limited. So this cannot be used at all the places. Okay, closed square cannot be used at all places. And the next thing which we have talked about is the single bevel, where you are going to beveling the plate, one of the plates only on one side and the other side remains to be square. Whereas in double bevel, you are going to make the beveling process on both sides of the same plate and the another plate remains the square shape. Whereas in single V, you are going to make both the plates, okay, you're going to make both the plates to form a shape V. In double V, you're going to make both the plates of both the sides, you're going to make in the shape of V. And in single J, they both are same. The single bevel and double bevel, single J and double J, they are however same. Just the shape gets different. And in single U, you're going to make the shape of U for both the plates. And in double U, you're going to make the shape of U on both the sides of both the plates. However, these two are also same. The single V, single U, double V and double U. Okay, so this is the summary of the different types of groove welds which we have discussed so far. Okay, now we have to talk about one important thing here. One is the complete penetration, and the second one is incomplete penetration. What is this complete and incomplete penetration? So I'll show the figure, one figure. So say, for example, I am using the V groove welds. Okay, this is single V groove weld, and I'm also going to draw the double V groove weld. Okay, this is single V, and this is double V. Okay, now here, as I said earlier, you are going to fill the weld materials up to here. Okay, so this is how the welding happens in single V butt weld. But whereas in the double V butt weld, what you have to observe here is the weld material is almost making or is almost passing through the entire depth of the connection or entire depth of the plates. In double V butt weld, it is the weld material is passing throughout the depth of the main plate. But here in the single V butt weld, it is passing only through up to certain extent. So this is called as incomplete penetration. So this kind of welding is called as incomplete penetration. So the welding is not properly going throughout the depth of the plate. But whereas here you're going to call it as complete penetration. Okay, so incomplete and complete penetration. I'll show the figures also, which talks about this thing very detailed. So here you can see. So the shape of the joint is in the shape of V. Okay, this is the single V butt weld. See the weld portion, this entire the pink one. Okay, the pink material is the weld material. Okay. The weld is not completely passing throughout the depth of the plates. Thus, this portion is getting little unsafe. That means there is a probability of chances to get fail at this portion. Okay, this is called as incomplete penetration. Whereas the This also shows about the incomplete penetration, but however, this talks about the U joint. This is in the shape of U, and the top one is in the shape of V. Okay, they both, however, are same. But what you have to observe is in single V or single U or single J butt welds, incomplete penetration of welds takes place. But whereas in the double V, okay, I'll talk about this statement later. Whereas in the double V or double U or double J butt welds, the complete penetration of weld is happening. Okay, in single V, single U, and single J, make sure of noting these points. In single V, U, and J butt welds, incomplete penetration of weld is happening. Whereas in the double V, double U, and double J butt welds, complete penetration of weld takes place. Okay. Now, what does it makes the difference while solving the problems or while designing the connections? Which one, according to you, will be safer? It is that when you have the complete penetration in the welds, then you can say it as a safer joint when you compare with the incomplete penetration. Okay, so when you have the complete weld material is passing throughout the depth of the plate, then such kind of connections are very safer when you compare with the other types. So here you can simply say the single V, single U, and single J butt welds are little unsafer than when you compare with the double V, double U, and double J butt welds. And this makes a difference in calculation of the throat thickness. Okay, we have talked about this throat thickness in the previous class. What is this throat thickness is? Suppose you have a two welds, okay, you have two plates, and here if you are providing the weld, the distance which is measured from the center of the connection to the center of the triangle, this distance is called as throat distance. So in single V UJ butt welds, when you find incomplete penetration, the value of throat thickness is taken as 5/8 times of thickness of thinner plate. Okay, this is taken as 5/8 times of thickness of thinner plate. But whereas in double V UJ butt welds, the throat thickness is taken as just the thickness of the thinner plate. So these 2 points are very important. You have to make a note of this. In single V UJ butt welds, since incomplete penetration is happening, the throat thickness is taken as 5/8 times of thickness of thinner plate. Whereas in double V, double U, and double J butt welds, you are going to take the thickness, or the throat thickness is the thickness of the thinner plate. That's the simple difference between the single V, single U, and single J, and double V, double U, and double J. Okay, so that's about the complete and incomplete penetration of welds. So this is also a summary which talks about the different types of welds which we have seen so far. This gives a broader detail of all the things which we have talked. Okay, fine. Let's look at the specifications of the butt welds. Okay, so whatever the specifications you are seeing, I request you to note down all the things, because all the specifications are not available in your IS 800/2007. So for that reason, if you make a note while solving problems, it gets easy to refer. Okay, fine. So the first one is the size of the butt weld. Okay, the size is denoted with the symbol capital S, as we are denoted in the lap weld. Okay, the size is denoted with capital S. Here, the size of butt weld is specified by the effective throat thickness. Remember, so the size of butt weld depends on the effective throat thickness, and the effective throat thickness in case of complete penetration is taken as thickness of thinner part. I have shown you this one, okay, in the last slide, that if you have the complete penetration, the effective throat thickness is taken as the thickness of the thinner plate. Okay, this you can say the thickness of the thinner plate is taken as the effective throat thickness in case of complete penetration. But whereas in case of incomplete penetration, it is taken as 5/8 times of thickness of thinner plate. So here it is written as 7/8, but however, I'll talk about the 5/8 part also. So the complete penetration happens in double V, double U, double J, and double bevel butt welds. So these are the typical examples of complete penetration of welds happening. So the effective throat thickness in case of incomplete penetration, okay, the effective throat thickness in case of incomplete penetration is taken as 7/8 times of thickness of thinner part. But however, this has come down to, okay, but for the purpose of stress calculation, the value of 7/8 has come down to 5/8 times of thickness of thinner part. So you have to consider this value. Okay, so 5/8 times of thickness of thinner part. Therefore, when you have the incomplete penetration, and if you want to find out the stress values in the incomplete penetration, then you have to use the throat thickness should not exceed 5/8 times of thickness of thinner part. Therefore, in incomplete penetration, the value of throat thickness is taken as 5/8 times of T, or 5/8 times of thickness of thinner plate. So this value is the important value which you have to remember, not the one which we are talking about, the 7/8 times of thickness of thinner part. Okay, fine. So the typical examples of the incomplete penetration is single V, single U, single J, and single bevel. These are the typical examples for incomplete penetration. So you have to remember, for complete penetration, it is taken as the throat thickness is taken as thickness of thinner part. But whereas for incomplete penetration, the throat thickness is taken as 5/8 times of thickness of thinner part. That's about the size specifications of butt weld. Also, an incomplete penetration butt weld is also called as unsealed single butt weld. So this is just for your remembrance purpose. So incomplete penetration is also called as unsealed single butt weld, because as I said earlier, in the incomplete penetration, throughout the total depth, you don't find the welding. Since the welding is incomplete, you're going to call it as unsealed. That means the weld has not properly reached throughout the depth. Okay, the weld is not properly sealed the materials, and hence you're going to call it as unsealed single butt weld. Okay. Now the next parameter is the effective area of butt weld. So here the effective area of butt weld is taken as the product of throat thickness and the effective length. Okay, the area is taken as the product of throat thickness times of effective length, which is called as LW or L effective. They both are same. So LW or L effective. So the effective area of butt weld is taken as the product of throat thickness and the effective length, which is denoted with LW or LFF, EFF or effective. Next, how will you find out this effective length? So the effective length of butt weld is the minimum length of butt weld, which shall be 4 times the size of weld. So the 4 times the size of weld, the minimum effective length, that is L effective minimum, equals to 4 times the size of weld, or 4 times of S. S is called as size of weld. So the minimum effective length of butt weld has to be 4 times the size of weld. But whereas the effective length of butt weld shall be taken as the full length of weld, or length of full size weld. This I'll talk when we are discussing about the problem, the second step. But for time being, you can remember this specification, that is the minimum effective length equals to 4 times the size of weld. Now the next specification is design strength of groove weld. Okay, this is the another parameter, the design strength of groove weld. Here the design strength is denoted with PW, sometimes PW, and sometimes we will refer with another parameters also. I'll talk about those things a little later. The design strength of groove weld, it is dependent on two important phenomena. One is either tension or compression, and the second phenomena is shear. So before we talk about shear, let's finish off with tension or compression. So what does this say? Suppose you have two plates. So forget about which kind of butt weld it is. It can be a single V, double V, whatever it is. Okay. So let's have two plates which are about to make the butt weld. Here, if you find the tensile forces on either sides of the plates, or the compressive forces on either sides of the plates, then the design strength is calculated by using this formula. Okay, so if you have a plate which is experiencing the tensile force or the compressive forces, the tensile strength or the design strength of groove weld is taken as Fy into Lw into Tt upon gamma Mw. Okay, Fy is actually the smaller of yield stress of weld and the parent metal, that is 250. You can take the Fy value as 250, however. Okay, so while solving problems, you will get to know how to take the Fyw value and Fy value. Okay, so that's about the design strength of groove weld when you are experiencing the tensile force or compressive force. Here, the value of Fy for time being, you can remember as 250 megapascals. Okay, that is what we have been following since the bolted connections design. And Lw is the effective length of weld. So Lw is the effective length of weld, and Tt is the throat thickness. So Tt is the throat thickness, and gamma Mw is the partial safety factor for weld. Okay, here again the gamma Mw value depends on the shop welding and the site welding, which we have discussed in the last class. 1.25 for shop welding and 1.5 for the site welding. We have also talked about the table, the specific table. If I'm not wrong, it is table 5. Okay, so that's how you can calculate the design strength of butt weld when you are having the tensile or compressive forces. So the next category of design strength calculation is when you have the shear force. Okay? So the design strength of groove weld when you are experiencing shear force. Therefore, the value of design strength is VW. Here V represents shear, D represents design, and W represents weld. Therefore, design shear strength of weld, okay, equals to Fyw1 into Lw into Tt upon gamma Mw. Here, instead of Fy, you are going to get Fyw1. Here, actually, the Fyw1 is the smaller of shear stress in weld and the parent metal. That is Fyw upon root 3 on Fy by root 3. Here, Fy value is fixed, which is 250 megapascal. I'll talk about the Fyw terminology a little later while solving problems. Okay, but for time being, you can take the value of Fyw1 is actually the smallest value of Fyw by root 3 and Fy by root 3. Okay, so these are the two different formulae when you want to calculate the design strength of groove weld when they are exposing to the tensile or compressive forces or when they are exposing to the shear forces. Okay, whereas if you remember the concept of design strength of fillet weld, okay, the design strength, that is Pw or Pdw, is taken as Fy. Sorry, no, it is not Fy. It is Lw into Tt into Fu by root 3 into gamma Mw. This is in case of fillet weld. If you remember this, we have talked in the last class. So here in the calculation of the groove weld, the design strength depends on two parameters, that is the tensile or compressive force, and the second parameter is the shear force. But whereas in the fillet welds, you are not going to consider which type of force is experiencing on the member. It all depends on the, all the forces are having the same calculation of design strength. So this is the next classification or the specification of butt welds or groove welds. And the next type of weld is the slot weld. Okay? This is the next type of slot weld. We have seen fillet welds, we have seen butt welds, and the third category is the slot weld. We have one more type, which is the plug weld, that we'll see once we complete this one. Okay, what is this slot weld? So here, a slot weld joins the surface of a piece of material to another piece. Okay, that's very common. So here, the surface of one piece is joined to the surface of the another piece. But how you are going to join? Here, you're going to join by using an elongated hole which is created on one of the plates. So here, one plate is joined with the other plate. How you are going to join is through the hole which is created on one of the plates. I'll show you the images, then you can see. See here, you can see this is one complete plate. Okay, this is plate 1. And in this plate, you are having a slot. That means you are having a small hole which is having a particular length. This you can say L. So which is having a particular length. And on this plate, you're going to provide another plate. Okay, and then you're going to weld. How? You can see here. For the another plate, also you're going to have the weld. Okay, so here in this connection or in this slot, you're going to fill the weld material. That's how you are going to join the two plates. Okay, so that's about the slot weld. Here you are going to have an elongated hole, not a hole, an elongated hole. And in this elongated hole, you are going to fill the weld material. So that's about the slot weld is. And this hole may be open at one end and may be partially or completely filled with the weld material. So there is no strict rule that throughout the length of throughout the length of hole, you are going to provide the weld material. You can provide up to this distance. You can make this distance as you can leave the distance without making any kind of weld. Okay, but slot welds are technically they are not that much efficient when you compare with the first two types of welds, that is the fillet welds and the butt welds. And the width of slot, that is this one. Okay, the width of slot has to be taken between two terms. One is either 3T or 25 mm, whichever is greater. So this length, okay, this length has to be 3T or 25 mm, whichever is greater. So that's about the slot welds. The next classification of weld is the plug welds. So what we do in plug welds is, here you're going to have the welds in the shape of plugs. Okay, so plug welds are round welds, okay, that is made inside an existing hole, most commonly in one piece of metal. I'll show the image, then you can understand. See, here you can see this is plate 1 and this is plate 2. For one of the plates, you are going to make a round holes, and inside these round holes, you are going to fill the weld material. I'll show you that in the next figure. So here, before welding process, what happens is you are going to make the plugs, okay, or holes. So you're going to make holes for one of the plates, not for the both the plates. So remember, here we are going to do for only for one plate, not for the both plates. And then in this holes, you are going to fill with the weld materials. So that you can see in this figure. Okay, so the holes are completely filled with the weld materials. So now, where will you use this kind of weld material or welded connections? Okay, this kind of welded connections are used when you don't have when you don't want to provide the riveted connections. Okay, we talked about riveted connections. Riveted connections are not as efficient as the bolted connections and welded connections. So instead of riveted connections, where certain amount of loads are heavy, you can make the plug welds. That's what it talks about. Such welds are often used in place of rivets, and usually these plug welds are in the shape of circular. So they are in the shape of circular welds. So that's about the different types of welds which we have seen from the last class. The first one is the fillet weld or lap weld. The second one is the butt weld or the groove weld. The third one is slot weld, and the last one is plug welds. So we have very little specifications regarding the slot and plug welds. So one of the specifications for slot weld is you have to make it as 2T or 25 mm, which is the length of the slot weld. But whereas for plug welds, there are no strict rules that you have to make only this diameter of holes or any other things. But however, we'll talk about the specifications regarding these plug welds and slot welds once when you are doing the problems related to these particular concepts. Okay, so now let's look at the another type of classification of welds, which is based on position of weld. Okay, one you have the flat weld, horizontal weld, vertical weld, overhead weld. These are the four types. So the flat weld is when two plates are made perfectly flat, then you're going to make it. Horizontal position is throughout the horizontal length if you're making, and vertical is when you connect two plates in the vertical direction, then you call it as vertical weld. Overhead is nothing but when you are making the connection just beneath the surface of the plates, then it is called as overhead weld. So typically these overhead welds are used for the I sections or T sections. Okay, So typically these overhead welds are used for the I sections or T sections. Now, based on type of joint, so you have butt joint, lap joint, T joint, corner joint, and end joint. So we have talked about the butt joint and the lap joint. The T joint is a joint which is in the shape of T. So you can find the web and the flange. So here what you're going to do is you're going to provide the weld material throughout the length on both the sides. Okay, this is one side, and along the other side also you're going to provide. Whereas for the corner joint, what you're going to do is you're going to bring two plates corner to each other, and in the corner you are going to weld. So this is called as corner welding or corner joint. Whereas edge joint is nothing but you're going to bring two plates close to each other. At the edges of the both the plates, you're going to make the weld. So these are the next three types of welded connection. That is butt, lap joint, T joint, corner joint, and end joint. So I don't think you need a detailed explanation of understanding of this T, corner, and edge joint. Okay, you might have know by seeing the terminologies itself. That is the T, edge, and corner. Now let's look at the these are the other types of welding, that is butt joint, corner joint, edge joint, T joint, and lap joint. Okay. So usually the fillet welds may be say a single transverse fillet welds or double transverse fillet welds, or also a parallel fillet welds. So the single transverse fillet weld is when you're going to make the weld only on one side of the plate, that is this side, or on this side. Okay, if you're making the weld only on one side of the plate, then it is called as a single transverse lap joint. Whereas double transverse lap joint is nothing but you're going to weld on the top plate as well as in the bottom plate. Here also you're going to weld. Since it is not visible, it is represented with the dotted line. So here you can see from the front view, you can see you're going to make the weld on the top as well as on the bottom, and hence they are called it as double transverse lap joint. So in single transverse lap joint, you're going to weld only on one side, whereas in the double transverse lap joint, you're going to weld on both sides of both the plates. And the next one is parallel fillet joints. Parallel is nothing but, so you're going to parallelly weld the materials or weld the plates. That is what the parallel fillet joints or parallel lap joints. Okay. So I'll talk about the advantages and disadvantages of welded connections. So let's look at the advantages initially. So here we are not going to make any kind of holes as we provided in the bolted connections, right? So in the bolted connections, we have talked about the diameter of bolt. You have to make a diameter of bolt hole, which is D and D naught values. But here you are not going to make any kind of holes for the provision of welds. So for that reason, you're going to make this as an advantaged connection. This is one of the advantages of the welded connections. The second one is welded joints are more stiff when you compare with the riveted connections. And also, you are not going to produce any kind of noise during the process of welding, but whereas in the process of riveting or bolting, you're going to produce certain kind of noise, right? And in the welded joints are economical when you compare with the riveted and the bolted connections. The next thing is disadvantages are you need skilled labor and electricity throughout the process of welding. Okay, you need the skilled labor and electricity throughout the process of welding. So this you can say it as one of the disadvantages. The other one is the inspection of welded joints is little difficult and it is also expensive. Expensive is because you need a skilled person to inspect the welded connections or the welded joints. And these are over rigid. You cannot break them very easily. These are over rigid, which is also helpful in one of the ways. Okay, but the internal stresses and warping stresses are produced due to uneven heating and cooling. What is this uneven heating and cooling is, suppose on a particular time, the heat of the weld material is, say, for example, 1500 degrees centigrade. Maybe over a period of time, what happens? This heat might get decreased. So this is uneven heating and cooling. So due to this uneven heating and cooling, there are some internal stresses and warping stresses which are produced during the process of welding. Okay, the next parameter is defects in welding. So these are the few defects in welding. You can have a look on the screen. So these are the common defects of welding, that is incomplete penetration or incomplete fusion. Some kind of pores will also get formed if the weld material is not proper. and some kind of slag materials or waste materials will also get available, and cracks will get formed. Okay, and undercutting, lamellar tearing is also will also happen. So these are a few of the defects which are available in the welding process. Okay,